Hi guys, this is Matt and here's a little tour of my farm. So, this is my farm. It's quite small right now and it's probably not going to grow very big because it's quite a dense farm. There's a lot going on in a small space that generates a lot of income. I started on 207, which is a 2.5 acre field, and then expanded to 208, and these were all pure forest when I bought them. So 207, I cut the trees down and used some of the revenue to buy 208, and did the same in 208 to then eventually form like the basis of my farm, as seen in this sketch. And then as my farm started to grow, I realized I needed more space to put the cows in, so I looked across the road and started to buy 180. And that is the one I'm working on now. And the plan is, once that one is up and running, I'm going to need 181 to do the orchards, where I'm going to be growing a lot of the fruit for my fruit aspect of my farm. And hopefully processing that into different jams, so I can basically produce cheese, milk, and jam. Like a real traditional, dairy farm in the ones in my region in north of England. So yeah, that being said, let's jump in and do a little tour of the place. And starting off the tour, let's start with the main courtyard. So this is my all things shed. It's just where I keep my vehicles stored. It's custom built shed using the mod's hole configurator. It's a great mod that allows you to mix and match different parts to make the shed that fits for you. So in my case, I'd made this enclosed space here. I put some wall mounted lights on. That's another mod. And made parking for my truck and for my tractors. My first tractor is a Valtra. This one is the top Valtra you can get in the small tractor range in vanilla game. I don't have any modded tractors on this build because it takes up most of my server space, the map itself. This tractor is fantastic. It's 201 horsepower. It's got an automatic gearbox, only recently upgraded because it started manual and I've been gradually upgrading it as I've gone along. And it's got front and back 3-point attachments with PTOs. So little tip for everybody out there: if you buy one of the vintage tractors, they may be cheaper and have a lot of horsepower, but the front PTO might not be there. I learned that with a couple of the medium tractors. So the older ones don't tend to have a PTO on the front, they only got it on the back. So you won't be able to use things like mowers and other front mounted things that require power from the engine. But anyway, that's my main tractor for mowing, sorting out the baling and just mulching and preparing the forestry work. And to do all of my hauling, I use this Mack truck. I think it costs 97,000 or something. It's a very good truck, very dependable, and I use a special flatbed attachment on the back periodically. But more recently I started switching to semi-trailers, which I'll show you later, because they're just, I've scaled up my operation now, so I kind of need a bit more space than what this bed offers. But it is a great bed. I mean, I can add these lovely things on all sides, and that's really useful. Sideboards, that's it. And it's a fantastic truck, 450 horsepower I think. Can't be upgraded, but I'm happy with it for now. Although down the line I'd like a 4x4 rather than a 6x4, because it's just tight turning in my farm and this thing can be a little bit long. Anyway, that's my bucket and sponge for cleaning them. And yeah, the tools. So I use a lot of this has been upgraded. It started a lot smaller. Like I used to have a vintage seeder, and I used to have a much smaller mower and a basic baler. But now I've managed to be able to afford to upgrade some things. And the plan is, as in my sketch, I'm going to turn all of this area into a seed storage and a bag storage, and then move these tools somewhere else. Now, where, I'm still figuring that out, but I have a few ideas. So yeah, that's this area. Actually, pro tip for anybody who wants to bale for feeding cows: this is the only baler where you can actually do baling for grass at the largest size, because it doesn't wrap the largest size bale. you can also do hay and silage and straw. So this is the only baler that can do all 4 in one baler, just by changing the settings around. So, very versatile baler. Yeah, this little plucky guy is going to be the guys we're gonna do the tour in, because it's my latest addition. He's 39,000, so quite cheap, but he's basically my fertilizer spreader and my windrower. So when I do occasionally baling missions, which pay very well on this map, I have this guy as my second tractor support, just to kind of follow the front one when he's doing his mowing. So let's zoom out and do a little tour. It's my house. I started with a tent and then gradually upgraded to this. This is a temporary because my actual plan is to have a little cottage here and cut this road up a bit as in the drawing. And that behind me is a special tanker for filling up with water or milk once the cows are producing. And my eventual plan is to either daisy chain them or get a larger tanker. We'll see. So, let's keep going along. So behind the shed, down this road here, and remember this was all forest when I arrived. This has all been gradually done over the 9 in-game years. This is the courtyard 2, and this is where I grow all of my strawberries. Both my greenhouses here produce strawberries in quite high volume, and these are fantastic greenhouses. This is part of a mod called Orchards and Greenhouse mod, and basically these ones require compost and fruit and vegetable fertilizer. As well as water to grow, right? So 2 new commodities, because it's not normal liquid fertilizer, it's a special one that costs extra. And the cool thing is they actually give out, they produce waste here, organic waste. Now these are empty right now, because I recently just emptied them out. And basically what you do is you take the organic waste and you can compost it. You can ferment it to produce compost. And basically you can create from the waste, through fermentation and a special fermenter, you can create more feed, saving you a bit of money. So it's quite a great process. Now, I use these light trailers because they're much brighter than the standard lights, but eventually I'd like to light up this area with proper lighting. This is where I store my bales from the free fields, so silage, hay and grass. Now, I might be wrong about this, but I think that's the formula for TMR. I might think I'm mixing up grass with straw though, and if that's the case I'll just change one of the fields to oat or wheat, and I'll just change the bales to to straw, and I'll sell the ones that are there. But that's how it is now. I use color coded tarps so I know which one's which, and I load up everything here by just backing the truck and using the articulating low loader, which I'll show in a minute. Oh look, there's some new strawberries. So anyway, let's follow my log pole lights, and whilst we go along, I'll show you a bit of the fields. So, these fields, each one is designated for a specific kind of bale. This one's, I can't remember which order it is actually, the sketch will show you. But basically, yeah, I do the mowing, I windrow it, and then I bale it, and then I dump all of them in those storages to ferment, or just to sit there for the next feed. And for now, I'm not producing any more hay or grass because there's not really a good value to selling it, so I produce enough to get started once I have cows. But with silage, I actually overproduce and I stockpile it, and when the stockpile's full, I load it up onto a lorry and I go sell it. So I make quite good money off that, about 20,000–30,000 a year. And anyway, transitioning on, here is the logging section. So this has just recently been upgraded again. A couple of months back I put a trailer storage in, and I put this new logging shelter. Now this is actually a bridge pack, a log bridge pack, but it works quite nicely as a shelter. It's quite funny, it's a bridge pack, but it ends up being more useful for many other things, and in a previous game I even used it for a cliff extension to grow greenhouses over the edge of a cliff. So it's quite versatile, and this is the smallest one. So yeah, this is the logging loading zone. So the idea is if you're a truck, like with this logging trailer, I drive it along here, I stop here, and then that low loader with its right attachment, not that one, picks up logs, dumps them in a trailer, and when it's fully loaded, I make a tight maneuver around here. For all the ETS fans, it's just like that. And it does get around just about. And then I come back out and down out through this way, and I'm sorted. And I go sell my logs. I have two different zones here for growing. This one is currently in its second to last stage. The trees are 25.5 meters. Once they get to 32.5, they'll be ready for harvesting. And I have them in rows, so I know exactly how to go up and down and cut them, plant them, and keep them always in the same place. These ones are pine, and these ones are in their middle stage of growth, so they've got probably, I'd say, another 6 months, and then they'll be ready as well. Ready in about autumn, winter time, which is not an ideal harvest time on this map. The winters can be quite harsh, but you know, it's fine. So let's just quickly drive out of here and head over to the other side, where I can show you where the cowshed's going to be. One nice thing about these little fields as we go is I only have to go up and down them once. Only once along each one, just to fertilize it, because it's just the width of the fertilizer spreader. So that's quite nice. Saves a lot of time. And each one looks quite small, I know you're probably thinking, but they actually do produce about 5 or 6 medium bales each, so it's effective if well treated. So if you do plowing, if you do liming, you do get a good amount out of them, especially if you fertilize. So yeah, here is the newer section. And on the left here we have another logging area. This is a much larger space for logging, and simple reason is the field was at an angle and it wasn't that comfortable to do with the AI, so I figured just make it into an enclosure and do some extra logging till I can afford the cowshed. Once I've paid it off, however, I might change it to something a bit more, I don't know, something a little less production-y or woody, and who knows, I might put my little jam factory there. We'll see. But for now it's logging. Yeah, this is the loading yard, and as you saw in the drawing, this is where I plan to do my trailer storage, and I've already started. It's my special low loader with articulated steering, and the front detaches, which is great for loading tools. This is the construction site where I'm going to have the cowshed. It's the exact size of the footprint for the cowshed. And when done, there'll be a ramp for me to drive into and unload my goods, and then just feed the cows. And that whole grass pasture there, which I currently bale and produce silage bales from, that will be an open cow pasture where there'll be cows roaming around the whole thing. And my hope is, if they actually count to the population, I'll probably have something like 100 cows. Maybe more, we'll see. But it'll be a very good production. Now, temporarily, this is where my composting fermenter is, but the plan is to actually turn this space here. Well, this bit here is going to continue being a bit more of a yard into the new field once I can get that. It's another 100,000 away. And this side bit's going to be sort of orchards and fruit orcharding, and same down there too. I'll probably keep the back end of the field and it'll just be another production area, but that's, yeah, it's all orchard space for growing fruits. And this composting heap is going to go down the other side of that cliff, just down by the road there. So yeah, that's the farm, that's the place, in the middle of a forest, nice little paradise, and the map is La Sariola. It's a really good map, really fun, and I highly recommend it. I'm in year 9 of a 0 to Hero, and it's going very well. Bit slow, but going well. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tour, and